Our Daily Wire Plus Black Friday sale is here. Right now, get your annual Daily Wire Plus membership for half the price. All the shows, all the movies, all the news you need, 50% off. DailyWire.com/subscribe. Elon Musk promises to eliminate poverty, which is welcome news to the 41% of 2024 college graduates who cannot find jobs in their field. I'm a little skeptical, however, as God himself told us that the poor will always be with us. And also, our society apparently can't even stop a man with 22 arrests since 2016 from lighting women on fire on the subway. I'm Michael Knowles. This is The Michael Knowles Show. Welcome back to the show. A childless woman has gone viral on TikTok for explaining her joy at not having children. We will diagnose the problem. I think the lady protests too much. First, though, I want to tell you about Everyday Dose. Go to everydaydose.com/Knowles. You know, it's a busy time of year, and we're all busy people, aren't we? Somehow the day just fills itself up. You got work obligations, you got family obligations, you try to fit in a little leisure time off, and that doesn't even happen. What do you do to keep up? You're mainlining coffee. You're drinking more coffee. You're, I don't know, any stimulant you can get over the counter. Put a pause, okay? Check out Everyday Dose. Everyday Dose is coffee plus benefits. They combine high-quality coffee with powerful ingredients like lion's mane and chaga, collagen protein, and nootropics to fuel your brain, boost your focus, and give you clean, sustained energy all day long. Tastes just like coffee without the downside. No crash, no jitters, just clean, sustained energy. I love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Go check out Everyday Dose today. Get 61% off your first Coffee Plus starter kit, a free A2 probiotic creamer with over $100 in free gifts by going to everydaydose.com/Knowles or entering Knowles at checkout. That's everydaydose.com/Knowles for 61% off your first order. Everyday Dose is also available at your local Target. I have to begin with an apology. I promised you yesterday, and I'm going to blame my friends in the wardrobe department, but I'll rectify this for tomorrow. I promised you that I would be wearing a beautiful mustard-colored sweater today. And I will. That will tomorrow. Tomorrow is the day. First, though, we will get to less important matters than my beautiful mustard-colored sweater, which you all get to see tomorrow. Maybe you'll even get to buy it. A Chicago man has lit a woman on fire on a Chicago subway train. This is the Blue Line in Chicago, which I think is a failed state. And I know it's technically part of the United States. I know it's a city. I think it's a failed state. I think if what is going on in Chicago were happening in other parts of the world that had our geostrategic interest involved, we would be invading. We would be sending Don Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney and F-16s in. But for some reason, it's a city in the United States. We just let the whole thing burn. This guy doused a woman in gasoline. Then he set her on fire on the Blue Line. The victim is a 26-year-old woman. She has survived for now. I don't know. That might change even during the course of this show. She was hospitalized in critical condition. Her life obviously completely upended by this. At best case scenario, worst case or more likely case, she dies. While he poured gasoline and lit her on fire, he apparently screamed, "Burn alive, BITCH." The victim was 26 years old. The perpetrator is 50 years old. The 50-year-old perpetrator faces a maximum sentence of life in prison if he is convicted. If he is convicted is a big if right now, because Democrat prosecutors let these criminals off the hook. Just let them off the hook routinely. Then, even if he does go to prison, he very likely could get out on parole. Then, even if he doesn't get out on parole, he might just get out anyway, because Democrats have a habit of trying to empty the prisons, and they want to ultimately empty all the prisons because many, many, many prominent Democrats in recent years have campaigned on abolishing prisons. So this is the cost they're willing to accept. When what they're going to say is, look, when we live in society, crime happens. You know, look, criminals will always be with us in this fallen world. The poor will always be with us. We'll get to the Elon story in a moment. They say, there's no way to really stop this. Policing doesn't stop the problem. Arrests, putting people in prison don't stop the problem. Zohran Mamdani, the communist jihadi mayor of New York, future mayor of New York. He came out, he said, prisons, they're not a solution to crime. They cause crime, don't they? Was there any sign that this man might have done something like this? Well, yeah. According to, I think it's the local Fox affiliate out there, this man has been involved in 53 criminal cases since 1993. This man, the alleged perpetrator, has been arrested 22 times since 2016. Over the last 9 years, he's been arrested 22 times. More than twice a year, this guy gets arrested. And he's got a rap sheet going back at least to the early 90s, and for all we know, maybe even earlier. That's pretty crazy. It would be hard for him to have a rap sheet going back earlier, because at that point he would have been a child. But who knows? The guy was probably committing crimes when he was a child. This was as predictable as crime could possibly be, as it often is. And there were 53 other opportunities to lock him up and protect society from him. And the prosecutors failed to do it for decades. In Chicago, so it was exclusively one political party that failed. It was the Democrats, as it always is in these cases. And people wonder why our politics is getting a little radicalized. People wonder why the right has had enough. People wonder why the conservative movement is getting a little more right-wing these days. And, we tried to be nice. We tried the kind of George H.W. Bush style, waspy, nice, polite approach. I love the wasps. I love politeness. I love that. Moderation is a virtue, isn't it? Aristotle tells us. The right is completely justified in moving more right-wing. We're now at the point where, we'll get to this story if we have time, Nikki Haley's son, Nikki Haley, widely considered a fairly moderate politician in the Republican Party, her son is extremely right-wing, and he's been going on Fox News. He just went on Tucker's show, and he's making a lot of sense, actually. And he's persuading a lot of people. And people who are looking a little bit more to the right now are persuading a lot of people because of this. It's not in response to nothing. It's not merely in response to some social pathology. Oh, young men feel alienated. Oh, young men are hooked on porn. All this psychobabble. I don't know, maybe psychobabble plays some role in politics. I'm sure it does to some degree. The turn to the right within the Republican Party and within the electorate broadly, don't forget, Trump won the popular vote in 2024. That is in response to real, material, political circumstances that have changed on the ground. Reading this story should radicalize you. Irina, I don't even remember her last name. It was Irina Zarutsky. Remember the young woman in Charlotte who was just stabbed to death by an obvious, easily predictable criminal on the train? That radicalizes you. The BLM riots are going to radicalize people. Burning the country down, dozens of people killed, $1 billion in property damage. Basically, no one's held to account. Most of the charges were dismissed when there were any charges made in the first place. That's going to radicalize you. The purpose of the criminal justice system is not all that complicated. And the left has completely inverted that, and the right has misunderstood it. The primary purpose is retribution. It's that you do something wrong and you are punished for the injustice you have committed. That's the chief purpose. It's not chiefly rehabilitation or deterrence or anything else. It's chiefly because you've done something wrong. You've violated justice. Everyone needs rehab. Everybody could improve. Everyone could reform a little bit. Not everyone goes to prison. You go to prison for committing a crime. That's the primary purpose. The secondary purpose is to protect society. We've thrown that one out the window too. We're not protecting society. This poor woman is either going to have her life largely destroyed or will just have it literally destroyed and be dead because we fail to protect society from the criminals. This is one of my arguments on why, as we have debates over the prudential application of capital punishment, I think the arguments that were being made 2 or 3 decades ago that at this point in our advanced society, we don't really need capital punishment because we can protect society from criminals by just locking them up. That doesn't really hold water right now because we don't lock them up forever. We don't lock them up for very long at all. We actually let them off the hook 53 times. And then they go out and they light a poor woman on fire on the subway. That's what's going on. That is radicalizing. And it should be radicalizing. If you do not feel righteous anger in response to an injustice like this, something is defective in you. You don't want to give in to anger all the time. Wrath is a deadly sin. But no less an authority than St. Thomas Aquinas points out, if you don't feel anger in response to this kind of an injustice, there's something wrong in you. Simple answer, lock the guy up forever, at least. As our political order, run by the Democrats in places like Chicago, fails to do that, the rightward shift will continue, as it should. Now, moving on from crime to poverty, terrifying report, especially for young people, out of Forbes. Only 30% of 2025 college graduates have found jobs in their fields. And that's actually an improved number. That's down from 41% of 2024 college graduates not finding jobs in their fields. What does this mean? The establishment types on the right want to wave that away and say, well, you just got to figure it out. You're the ones who studied lesbian dance theory at school. Figure it out, kids. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. There's no political solution here. It's just an individual solution. Come on, quit your whining. Quit your belly aching, you Zoomers, you snowflakes. That's the response from the establishment types. The response from the leftists is, we need to nationalize all the industries and we need to kill all the kulaks and we need to, we need a communist revolution. There is an actual solution, though. There is a real response that we should have. We'll get to that in 1 second. First, though, I want to solve a problem in your home with Leaf Filter. Go to leaffilter.com/Knowles. What a beautiful time of year we're in, aren't we? Especially if you're in Tennessee like me, where winter's not really upon us yet. You're still getting those beautiful leaves on the trees. Oh, it's so lovely. Sweater weather, PSLs in each hand, double fisting. It's so beautiful. It's so wonderful until you see what it does to your gutters. Do you know how often I want to climb up a ladder and clean out my gutters? Precisely 0 times. That's how many times I want to do it. Well, happily for me and for you, Leaf Filter offers a permanent solution. Do not miss their Black Friday sales event. Save up to 35% off their most anticipated sale of the year at leaffilter.com/Knowles, KNWLES. An investment in Leaf Filter is really an investment in protecting your whole home. Clogged gutters are not just annoying, they can cause serious water damage, flooding, roof issues, rotting siding, foundation problems. DIY solutions might seem cheaper up front. They will cost you more in the long run. Do not miss out on your last chance of the year to save 35% off when you protect your gutters with Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system. Schedule your free inspection at leaffilter.com/Knowles. Lowest price of the year, 35% off, leaffilter.com/Knowles. See representative for warranty details. Folks, doors open at 7:30 p.m. Redneck Riviera in Nashville. This is John Rich's bar. Bar fight happens tonight. If you're in or around Nashville, head on over. You got to RSVP. We have the link somewhere in the show. Go look for it. I posted it to my Twitter yesterday too. Show up. We have Zena from Jubilee, and Luke Beasley as guests. Very popular left-wing YouTuber. And we will be debating and destroying and drinking and all sorts of verbs that begin with D. Okay. Really, really sad story for Gen Z. I love the Zoomers. I feel myself a little bit spiritually Zoomer. I know I'm a millennial. I feel a little spiritual kinship with the Zoomers. The Zoomers are all right. The kids are all right. Politically, they kind of get it. They get it a lot better than earlier generations do. Gen Z men, in particular, with college degrees, now have the same unemployment rate as non-college graduates. So let's drill into what this really means, because there's a lot of deception in news headlines. 30% of 2025 college grads have found jobs in their fields, entry-level jobs in their fields. The phrase "in their fields" is doing a lot of work here. Okay, because they might have studied, maybe not lesbian dance theory, but they might have studied social anthropology. They might have studied, I don't know, any number of kind of made-up fields. Ethnicity, race, and migration. That was an actual department when I was in college. They might have studied African-American studies, gender studies, American studies. What is your field in that case? It's not really a field. But I'll go further, and this is where the conservatives were completely wrong about their approach to college. For a long time, you heard on the right, you didn't hear it from me, but you heard it from almost everybody else on the right. If you go to college, you just need to study something practical like engineering. As I said then, and I'll say it now, the purpose of going to college, the purpose of a university, the purpose of liberal arts education is not to study a practical skill. I joke about this because I studied history and Italian literature. Very practical fields, aren't they? No, I joke. It's a joke because that's exactly the sort of thing you're supposed to study if you go to college or university. The purpose of going to these schools is to read dusty old books and to familiarize yourself with your civilization and to expand your imagination, to expand your soul. If there is any practical purpose to a college education, a liberal arts education, it is for your leisure time to figure out what you're supposed to do with your free time. And if Elon Musk is to be believed, all we're going to have is free time in the future. Though we'll get to that in a second. That's what it's for. Inasmuch as there is any practical relation to a job, it is to help you to think about things, but it is not to teach you anything practical. And if you go, I was very fortunate. I went to college on not quite a full ride scholarship because it was need based and there was strange circumstances, but almost a full ride scholarship. So I happily, unlike a lot of college graduates, I didn't go into debt. Easy for me to say that it's great to go and get that kind of an education. That's true because there are a lot of people who go to school and they take out $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 worth of loans that they're going to have to pay off for decades. I remember Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, presidential candidate, U.S. Senator, saying that he was paying off his loans for many, many years, well into his political career. And this is a guy who's succeeded at the top levels. And what I think a lot of Zoomers are thinking right now, and they're totally justified in thinking it, is they were sold a bill of goods. They were told that the way to ascend the socioeconomic ladder is to go to college, and that's the only way to do it. That's what they were told. And they were told to go to school, and they were even told, including by people on the right, you need to go study business. You need to go study marketing, or I don't know. You need to go study engineering. You need to go study something practical. And now a huge number of them are not finding even entry-level jobs in their fields, even a year after graduating. How are they going to pay off their student loans? How are they going to get married and buy a house and afford kids, get a car? How are they going to do all these things? And unfortunately, the answer from the establishment right now is, well, you got to pick yourself up by your bootstrap, kids. That's it. Yeah, it's too bad. You made some dumb decisions, didn't you? Yeah, that was dumb, but you got to figure it out. I'm all for personal responsibility, but those decisions didn't happen in a vacuum. They were told by you, by the society, by their parents, by their teachers, by their political commentators that they listen to. They were told that this is the way that you ascend the socioeconomic ladder, and it wasn't true. They were sold a bill of goods. They were told that college is for preparing for a job. That was not true. That was never true. And now what we are left with is not just a personal problem. Well, individual Zoomer, go figure it out. It's going to be tough paying off those bills. Now what we are faced with is a political problem, a major political problem. 30% of 25 college grads can't get jobs in their fields, whatever their fields may be, whatever their fields from what they studied is even supposed to mean. Big problem. At a large scale level, just to convince the establishment types that this is a major political problem, revolutions are led by the bourgeoisie very often. The French Revolution, which lopped off the head of the king and queen and lopped off a lot of other heads in the way and destroyed France, was led by the bourgeoisie. It wasn't led by just the hoi polloi. It wasn't just the dirty peasants who picked up pitchforks and torched the country. No. It was the equivalent of college graduates. It was the equivalent of would-be white-collar workers. And the palace is not secure when the cottage is unhappy. Okay, so that's a major political problem. It's also a political problem for us because as an existential political matter, we need young people to get married and have kids. And the way that they're going to get married and have kids is if they feel secure in their country, and if they feel hopeful about their country, and if they feel like they have a place in society, and if they feel like they have some ownership in their society. And the strongest predictor is if they have a strong religious basis, all of which is undermined by college. All of which, especially the religion part. Unless you go to an Ave Maria, to a Hillsdale, to a Liberty, to a Belmont Abbey I just spoke at, to a Thomas Aquinas, there are a handful, University of Dallas, handful of these colleges, the vast majority undermine all of those things. So there needs to be a real reckoning here. There needs to be a very, very serious reckoning. So in the short term, what would the advice be to these Zoomers? The advice would be, Just accept the reality. You were lied to. And a lot of people bear the guilt for that, but you were lied to. So if you want to get a job, don't limit yourself to your field. That your field was illusory. And we are on the brink of a major technological change with AI that could severely upend jobs and fields and everything anyway. Get a job. Get any job. Any job is better than no job. Drew Clavin once gave me kind of colloquial, not exactly theological advice, but colloquial, good folksy advice some years ago. Said, God can't drive a parked car. And this is true. I've had a job since I was 14. Okay. Any job is better than no job at all, and you'll learn along the way, but recognize you were lied to. Then, the other political problem, the government needs to stop subsidizing college. The reason that the college rates have gone through the roof and have trapped Gen Z in cycles of debt that some of them will never get out of is because the government has subsidized college. Because the government made a choice. It's not just, politics is downstream of culture. The government made a choice to encourage a system that is bad and to promote lies, which are always bad. So the government has to stop subsidizing college. The government also needs to come down on these colleges that are lying to their students and telling them they're all going to get jobs when they graduate and that the purpose of a liberal education is to get jobs or whatever. That's not. So there is a role for the political order here. The government further needs to promote marriage, promote having kids. Right now, it does the opposite. It discourages both. It promotes abortion. It promotes contraception. It promotes a libertine view of sexuality. It abolishes the meaning of marriage in the law all the way up to the Supreme Court level. So this is not laissez-faire. This is not just the free hand of the market operating. This is active government social engineering, and we need to reverse that because the law is a teacher. Got to do all of those things. And most importantly, the government has to promote religion and suppress atheism and secularism. It's done the opposite. There are all sorts of political solutions, pretty practical stuff like I've just described, that can be done. The individual Zoomers need to do their own thing in the meantime. I wouldn't wait on the government to help you. But also, Gen Z is totally right and justified in demanding political solutions to many of their problems. Because we're on the brink of a major social upheaval coming through AI. Though some people are overpromising, I think, with what AI is going to deliver. Elon Musk says it's going to eliminate poverty. We'll get to that in one second. First, though, I want to tell you about Policy Genius. Go to policygenius.com/Knowles. Costs have been all over the place for everything. Groceries, gas, subscriptions, you name it. It is no surprise that we tend to assume everything is more expensive than it actually is. Case in point, 72% of Americans overestimate what life insurance costs. Turns out it might be more affordable than you think. Policy Genius makes finding and buying life insurance fast, easy, surprisingly affordable. If something happens to you, your loved ones will have a financial safety net. With Policy Genius, real users have gotten 20-year, $2 million policies for just $53 a month. Looking for life insurance can feel overwhelming. Policy Genius makes it super straightforward. They let you compare quotes from top insurers in just a few clicks so you can find coverage that fits your needs and budget. What sets them apart is their team of licensed agents who walk you through everything, step by step, answering questions, handling the paperwork, advocating for you throughout the process. They lay out all your options clearly, coverage amounts, prices, terms right in front of you. No guesswork, just clarity. Be sure to leave your family in a good place. Get that worry off your mind. Secure your family's future with Policy Genius. Go to policygenius.com/Knowles. Compare life insurance quotes from top companies. See how much you can save. That is policygenius.com/Knowles. Everyone's telling us that AI is going to solve all our problems. The entire stock market basically right now is predicated on the AI stocks, the Magnificent Seven. The whole economy is kind of floating at the moment on this promise of AI. Elon says not only will it make your life easier, not only will it make you richer, AI will eliminate poverty.
And if you go out long enough, assuming there's a continued improvement in AI and robotics, which this seems likely, the money will stop being relevant at some point in the future. Now, there will still be constraints on power, like electricity and mass. The fundamental physics elements will still be constraints. But I think at some point, currency becomes irrelevant.
Currency becomes irrelevant. So AI will eliminate money. There will still be physical constraints like energy, which is why you'll notice climate change just disappeared from our, forget about Elon. Elon is like truly one of the great men of our age. And he's been one of the clearest forces for good in our political order that I've seen in my entire lifetime. But all those other guys in Silicon Valley, they were all promoting the climate change cult. They were all promoting the eschatology of liberalism, which is that the sun monster is going to kill us all. You've noticed they've all kind of shut up about this. Bill Gates came out. He said, yeah, actually, I know I've been one of the leading proponents of the climate change thing. Yeah, and never mind. I was wrong. It's fine. We're good. He just released that in his newsletter. No, we're good. Never mind. Why? Because they all need a ton of energy for AI, and they all know that windmills aren't going to do it. Ain't going to cut it. They need fossil fuels, and probably they need nuclear energy. So they're saying, look, that's the one constraint, and like mass, like actual just tangible physical goods. But otherwise, you're not even going to need money. What does that mean? It means there won't be poverty.
But AI and humanoid robots will actually eliminate poverty. And Tesla won't be the only one that makes them. I think Tesla will pioneer this, but there will be many other companies that make humanoid robots. But there is only basically one way to make everyone wealthy, and that is AI and robotics.
And we can't talk about robotics without AI.
So this is at the U.S. Saudi Investment Forum. The president was just meeting with Mohammed bin Salman, the leader of Saudi Arabia. A lot of focus on Saudi right now, a lot of predictions about the future. Elon retweets this clip, and he says, poverty is an engineering problem. And here, look, it's a little dangerous to disagree with the smartest man in the world, one of the smartest men in the world, certainly the richest man in the world. He's a very sharp guy. He's making some points here. AI could alleviate poverty. AI could make a lot of people rich. There's a bad version of it where it basically just takes a lot of people out of society. And then they have is leisure time, and maybe they're just living on a universal basic income or something. And because we have a complete collapse of real education in the country, they have no idea what to do with their leisure time, and you just see an exacerbation of all the social problems we have now, which is they spend all their time doing fentanyl, dying to the tune of much more than 75,000 people per year, and looking at porn or something, or best case scenario, just arguing about politics on the internet, which is not much better. But his claim here is that poverty is primarily an engineering problem. And this is wrong, because that view is essentially Pelagian. And it's a view that is the natural outgrowth of liberalism, and it's the natural outgrowth of Enlightenment thinking. Enlightenment thinking, which told us that actually, look, we're smart now, we're enlightened, and all those problems that plagued humanity from the Stone Age all the way up through 5 minutes ago, we figured them out. We're so smart, philosophically, morally, technically, politically, that we can actually fix it with just a little more fine-tuning to the government, a little more fine-tuning to markets, and a little more fine-tuning to machines on the part of humans. We can eliminate all of those problems. And we can save ourselves from the consequences of what we once called the fall of man. Poverty, it's an engineering problem. This is diametrically opposed to the Christian view, in which our Lord tells us explicitly, the poor will always be with us. The poor will always be with you, as our Lord ascends, to his Father in heaven. The poor will always be with you. Who's right? Who am I going to trust? I trust Elon on a lot of issues, but if I have to choose between trusting Elon and trusting our Lord on predictions for the future, I think I'm going with the divine logic of the universe. And the reason that our Lord is right and that Elon is wrong here is because of that tweet. Poverty is an engineering problem. Poverty is not primarily an engineering problem. Poverty is, there are material constraints involved in poverty, but poverty is ultimately a human nature problem. We will find ways to be poor. I'll just give you this example. We're the richest country in the world. There's never been a country richer than we are. We are, even with a shaky economy, we're abounding with material resources. And yet there are homeless people everywhere, aren't there? Why is that? Is it because we don't have enough money? No, we have plenty of money. Is it because we don't redistribute the money in abundant ways? No, we do. We redistribute a ton of money. The government shutdown proved that. You find out like 10% of Tennessee is on food stamps. No, we redistribute a lot of money here. That's not the problem. Is it because there aren't homeless shelters? Homeless shelters are open every night. There are beds in homeless shelters every single night. People don't want to go there. There's still people on the streets because homelessness is caused by a little bit mental illness, a lot drug addiction, and some bad choices. And the brokenness of this world. And the fact that the things that we want to do, we don't do, and the things that we don't want to do, we do. That's the issue. So this utopian thinking about AI. Look, if I ran an AI company, maybe I would be selling this stuff too. And maybe I'd believe it. But it's not true. What you are going to be left with after the AI revolution is a big social upheaval, and maybe it'll destroy 20 million jobs. Maybe it'll make 20 million jobs. We don't really know. But regardless, you will still have poverty. You will still have crime. And we bring this back to hard solutions. We bring this back to the top of the show with the career criminal lighting a woman on fire on the train. You need political solutions to try to mitigate some of that injustice. And even then, you will never totally extirpate it. That's what we're going to need. There is so much of the Enlightenment project, the liberal project, was based on the false premise that we could eliminate the perennial problems and the eternal questions. And we cannot do it. And there's a kind of irony to this, because the chief driver of all of our social problems, abortion, which ties to immigration, which ties to crime, which ties to the birth rate collapse, which ties to the marriage collapse, which ties to the redefinition of marriage, which ties to breakdown of social solidarity, which ties to the decline of the world empire, which ties into all of these things. The chief driver of that is the decline in religion. And it shows you something about how the imagination of man's heart is wicked from his youth, that even one of the greatest actors on the political stage, on the world stage, Elon Musk, even he is missing that. Even he is fundamentally misunderstanding that. Okay, back to the Zoomers, because there's some good political news from the Zoomers. First, I want to tell you about preborn. Go to preborn.com/Knowles. When Our Lady said, "Let it be done to me according to your word," in Luke 1:38, she said yes to God's plan, despite the uncertainty, despite the risk, and the sacrifice ahead. Our Lady is a model for us in all ways, and especially in that way. That single yes brought our Lord into the world. Today, mothers across the country face their own life-changing moment when they see their baby on an ultrasound screen. Many are scared, many feel alone, and without support, that moment, that chance to say yes can slip away. You can help change that. Thanks to you, Preborn Network clinics offer immediate practical support to mothers facing uncertainty. Maternity clothes, diapers, counseling, and more. They've saved over 380,000 babies. They have been born because someone like you showed up for a mother in need. Thousands more lives hang in the balance every single day. This holiday season, you can be the hope a mother needs. You can help give a baby a chance at life. I personally support this charity. I recommend you give whatever you can. To donate securely, dial pound 250, say baby. As pound 250, say baby, or go to preborn.com/Knowles, K-N-W-L-E-S. preborn.com/Knowles. And added bonus, especially this time of year, every gift is tax deductible and impacts generations to come. You've waited more than 2 years for it. The Daily Wire's most ambitious project ever, the Pendragon Cycle, Rise of the Merlin, an epic 7-part series coming exclusively to Daily Wire Plus. Do not pay full price to watch it. Right now, during your Black Friday sale, you can join Daily Wire Plus for 50% off new annual memberships. Be one of the first to see it January 22nd. All access members get early access to episodes 1 and 2 of the Pendragon Cycle on Christmas Day. It's our best deal of the year happening right now. Save 50%, no code needed, dailywire.com/subscribe. My favorite comment yesterday is from Frank S1111, who says, "Wake me when someone is in jail." This is in relation to the Epstein story, right? My view exactly. We're going to get the files. We already have the files. We already have tens of thousands of Jeffrey Epstein files. No, but now we're going to get the real files. Congress almost unanimously voted for it. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. And the White House is going to sign it. Oh, sure, cool. Congress and the White House said they were going to release all of the Kennedy files, and we got a lot of the Kennedy. We didn't. Releasing the Epstein files. I want you to file that away with the tooth fairy and working from home. It's not real. It's not real. You're not going to get it. You're going to spin your wheels on it. Epstein either is who people are saying he is, the elites say he is, which is, he's a sex freak, has nothing to do with intelligence or politics or anything, or you're never going to find out anything more. We're about to get to the bottom of it. Yep. Uh-huh. That's great. Tell me more about the tooth fairy. Tell me more about working from home. It's not. These two are flights of fancy. Okay. Good news out of the political order. Some rough news today, but some good news. We're hearing a lot about the collapse in Trump's support, especially among young voters. Young voters swung in the 2024 election 10 points to the right. Now, this is based on the numbers from 2020, an election that was totally legitimate in every way, and we should totally use, I think I'm speaking to YouTube right now, there's no question about the 2020 election. There's none. Obviously, part of the reason that you saw some of those swings is because the 2020 election, whatever you think about it, was conducted in a radically different way than other elections because COVID locked down the country. Political operators locked down the country, and then political activists used that as an excuse to upend our voting system and make it much more open to fraud and just change the way the elections are conducted. So anyway, I don't really even buy the full swing. I think that's not as rapid and sudden as some people are saying. I think that's a longer trend, and the trend is continuing. Gen Z has not turned on Republicans. Quite the opposite. There's a piece in Newsweek just came out. Gen Z is more confident in Republicans than Democrats. They're more confident. This according to a poll just released. Gen Z views Republicans as being more a better bet, I guess, for the midterms and looking ahead to 2028. So why does this matter? Because young people always vote for the Democrats until recently. And now you've seen a huge shift. And why do they trust the Republicans more? Because the Republicans are viewed more as outsiders. Because Republicans are speaking more to their issues. Why do they trust the Republicans more? Because the Republicans have moved further right in response to changing political circumstances. So this is good. Again, there is going to be a major battle. We're already in the midst of a fight over the midterms and really over 2028. So much of what we're talking about right now is about J.D. Vance. So much of the supposed right-wing civil war is really just a fight over the vice president, J.D. Vance, because he is the heir apparent. As of right now, it doesn't look like there's going to be much of a 2028 Republican primary. So it's a fight over him. And the headlines that you're seeing, the GOP is losing support among young people. The GOP is losing. A lot of that is just information warfare, kind of like pushing the electorate to what they were hoping for in the election. Okay. Now, I really want to get to a story about a childless woman who's gone viral on TikTok because I think it totally misses the point. I also want to get to, I fell into some controversy yesterday, which is I stated my least popular political view on Twitter, and I got ratioed heavy for it, but I was right. And it's that HOAs are awesome. We'll have to get to that tomorrow because we got too much going on today. I mentioned that tonight we're going to be filming another episode of my show, Bar Fight, where I argue with two libs in a bar full of rowdy people. And one of the libs that I was debating on last episode of Bar Fight, Brian Recker, has a very interesting book, a very wrong book, but a very interesting book nonetheless. And I really enjoyed talking to him on Bar Fight. And so I want to bring him on for Theology Thursday because he says that hell is bad and we should stop worrying about it. The rest of the show continues now. You do not want to miss it. Become a member. Use code Knowles, KNWLES, at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans.